Welcome to Make It. I'm Jason Levine. Today we're speaking with Ryan Todd, director and producer of the incredibly popular YouTube sensation, Smosh. With an audience of over 66 million people, there are a lot of eyes on the work that Smosh is producing.
Well, Ryan, thanks so much for joining me today on the Make It Show. It's really awesome to have you here, and it's probably safe to say that anybody who watches YouTube, certainly if they've been around since the beginning of YouTube, probably is aware of who you are in some form or fashion, because you're not only the director and producer for Smosh, which has a very small conservative following of 22 million followers and approximately 6 billion views.
Yep.
I couldn't resist. I had to do that. I promised myself I wasn't going to do it, but it's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But you didn't actually start doing that. You actually started in features, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I did one feature.
Feature.
I started in feature.
You started in feature, yeah.
Yeah, I did a feature called Censored, spelled with an S, with Robert Picardo, who was in like Gremlins 2, The Howling.
Yeah.
It came out late 2008, 2009.
So Ryan, maybe you could give everybody just kind of a brief history, a brief overview of like how Smosh got started in 2005. Way back in the early days of YouTube to, compared to where they are today.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, the guys went to high school together. They originally had a website. They were putting out videos that, off of YouTube that people actually really liked. And then they put a video, which was the Pokemon lip sync to the Pokemon theme song. And they did a couple others like Mortal Kombat, and so they were getting a lot of views. And then shortly after that, that's when Google acquired YouTube, started the AdSense program, and so suddenly you could actually make a living essentially putting out these videos. So then fast forward 2 or 3 years of them putting out a bunch of videos. They needed a producer, shooter first, and then a producer.
Yep,
they met me, and I had been making videos, short films, and putting them in festivals and stuff like that, and turning them around really fast, doing a lot of contests, 48-hour film
challenge,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So strangely, I didn't realize I was uniquely qualified to make these videos because they had to turn them around really fast. So then we started making videos again for like the next 4 or 5 years. Then we realized we want to expand the brand, brought in 5 new people, Noah, Olivia, Courtney, Shane, and Keith.
Right, on-screen talent.
Yep, and brought them in, and then that's when we started the Every Blank Ever series, and then now 2 years later, now we're releasing every Wednesday, every Friday. There's a whole other channel that has Smosh Lab and has Show With No Name and a bunch of these other really great personality-based videos, and now none of us sleep ever because we're so busy working constantly all the time, every day, all the time. So that's the brief 10-year history.
And that's the price you pay for 6 billion views, I guess.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
How has the production actually changed since those kind of early days when it was just a few of you putting it together? I mean, obviously the story was still there, the comedy elements were still there, but what changes kind of affected you, this greater rise and how you're doing it then versus today?
I'd say the biggest change happened when we did our Zelda rap video. That was the first shoot where we kind of said, no, let's put a lot of money into it and a lot of effort and a lot of production. So we scouted all over Lake Tahoe to find, basically Hyrule, to find like a spot that looked like that. And we found this really great spot. And then I found this random, like huge warehouse that was a photography studio in the 90s in Sacramento. And so we rented that and then built a castle and then built like a couple big sets. So that was like the first time we kind of did that style of production where we were building sets, we were going on location, we had a lot bigger crew. So after that point, I think all of us kind of just got like the taste for it. We're like, man, this is awesome.
It has to be this way moving forward. Okay. And it was around that time too where you started to do more productions weekly, right? Because initially you were doing like one a week or like in the earlier days?
But yeah, we didn't start releasing on Wednesday until 2015, I think January of 2015.
Okay.
And that's when we started the Every Blank Ever series.
Oh, right, which is my all-time favorites. And I was asking before too, like the first one was actually Every Instagram Ever.
Right.
That's yeah. I don't know, I probably watch it 15 times and I don't know why it just gets to me so much, but it's just, you just really nail it. You nail the culture, you nail the moment in time.
Could you please just eat your food and leave? No, we're good. I'll take a check, please.
How do you keep it fresh with everything changing all the time?
I think that was a big change when a whole new cast kind of came on. So we kind of kept it fresh again.
Right.
A lot of us that work behind the scenes, we're all, late 20s, 30s, whatever, but we're all immature as all hell. So
Right.
it keeps it fresh as well.
It keeps it fresh, right.
And the head writer is Ryan Finnerty, who I've known for years. He's really, one of the main people responsible for keeping that flow of ideas and all the development and everything going, because between me and him, we've gotten into this great flow of, getting a bunch of stuff in development, churning the scripts out, kicking the scripts to me creating them, and or producing them and getting them all shot. And then we have a great post department that then it's just a, almost an assembly line, if you will, because there's always another video coming up, which is the hard part. I mean, the grueling part of doing YouTube is it's a grind.
This stuff seems so fresh and so real. What's the magic there?
The fact that we've kept on schedule has been huge.
Okay, yeah.
Like you'll never
frequency. Yeah.
We've never missed a Friday, ever. And so.
And that's kind of a mantra, I think, for all like big YouTube channels is you've got to be consistent scheduling.
Yeah.
Right. It's just the name of the game.
And again, it's like if you have a video that doesn't work very well one week, everyone knows there's going to be another video next week, and the next week, and the next week. So.
And they do come back. Right?
Yeah.
If they know it's going to be scheduled.
We don't ever treat it like it's not a special case that we've kept it going. Like every week, we're like, man, okay.
It's a bit of a stress ball to get it kind of out the door.
Because we care about it.
Because you care about it.
Yeah.
So you just said something which is really interesting too, and I think this kind of plays into the segue I was going to ask you about, sort of being in front of the camera. Because again, you're largely behind the camera, but of course you have one character in particular, Stevie, that you are quite well known for. And something you mentioned to me when we were chatting earlier was that part of why you like getting in front of the camera is to, one, sort of experience what the actors experience, and just to have that kind of perspective, because it probably changes the way ultimately you do things on the other side of the camera as well, and sort of how you promote the videos and things.
Right.
Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't really trying to get in front of the camera that much. So it was kind of a gift and a curse in the sense that I was a little afraid to get in front of the camera, rightly so, because, that first episode, there was just people just hit you. Like, they will tear apart every facet of how you look, how you sound.
Sure. And it's either going to build a thick skin or you'll dissolve into nothingness, right?
And it built a thick skin,
which
I loved.
Right,
so,
yeah.
Then it's been great.
Yeah.
I laugh at him now when I see him. I'm like, that's really funny. But.
So now VidCon is coming up, and I know, and I heard you saying earlier too that now you guys go to VidCon every year, I imagine, and I'm sure when you go now, it's a combination of that. Yes, you're Smosh, you're the director, but people also see Stevie.
Yeah.
And it's probably a little Beatlemania-esque at times going there because of this following. You have to. You've got so many millions of people who've seen you. It's got to be craziness.
For the guys, for the main cast, yes. Yeah. For Stevie, I'm trying to think. Like, it's not Beatlemania. It's like who's like a D-list musician from the '60s. So you'll have people that walk up and be like, "Oh my God, Stevie," and they'll get. Yeah. But it's not like they don't come after me like that.
So thinking ahead to, let's say, 5 years from now, like what's next for Smosh?
Keep making really great sketch comedy, expanding the brand from these two guys that made this incredible sketch comedy channel to, not only more talent in front of the camera, but more people contributing to the writing and the producing and the directing, and just continuing that for as long as people will be down to watch us.
So now, Ryan, as someone who's directing, producing, and acting, what kind of inspires you? Or is there one thing in particular?
Oh, there's not one. I'm way too ADD.
Right, okay, good answer, yeah.
Yeah, no, I watch everything as much as I can, so I'm always watching movies as much as possible, always watch as many television shows as much as possible, even though now there's far too many to even choose from, so I can't watch everything. I read a lot of comic books.
Favorite comic book?
Currently?
Yes.
God, it's a split. Saga by Brian K. Vaughan's probably one of my favorites right now. Hawkeye by Matt Fraction on the Marvel app, which is really great.
One last thing I wanted to ask you was that you were talking about, again, sort of the popularity and what drives people to click and view some of your particular videos. And you made a comment about 75% of the video's success is the thumbnail. And I just wanted to have you touch upon that.
Essentially, you just want to make sure you always want to look at it like I think a lot of people look at their thumbnails this big.
Much larger,
Yeah.
right.
So I mean, obviously work on it large and then always shrink it down. There's definitely been thumbnails that in our small group we're like, that's the best thumbnail ever, and we think it's gonna be great, and then the video doesn't necessarily do as well as we thought, and then maybe the thumbnail has to do with that, and then we kind of have to think about maybe the broader reach of our audience versus more of like a smaller group. So obviously make sure it's got a really broad appeal, and then make sure the title's really good because they go hand in hand.
Sound advice from Ryan Todd. Well, Ryan, seriously, dude, thank you so much for joining me today on Make It. It was amazing to have you here and to really share the history of Smosh, and just, I think people are going to get really inspired by not just the success, but the story, and really starting from such humble beginnings to 22 million subscribers and 6 billion views later. It's an inspirational story, and it's an awesome one. I think it's one people can really identify with. So thank you so much for joining me here today. This was awesome.
Thank you.
We want to remind all of you to catch Make It every week, where we will feature new creatives showcasing their amazing creativity in video and audio and production, talking about the good, the bad, the sad, the ugly, and everything in between. You can watch it right here on the Creative Cloud YouTube channel. My name is Jason Levine, and we will see you again on Make It next time. Take care.